Hey fellow rangers, it's me, Mario. Today I'm going to talk about Great Western Trail buildings. Once upon a time, so many years ago when Great Western Trail was a new game, a new hit, the new hotness on BGG, I wrote a whole series of articles on BGG about the whole buildings. And I reckon I didn't do anything for the second edition. So since now I got a YouTube channel and since people seem to be pretty interested in Great Western Trail overall, I thought, why not? So I'm going to start a new small series. It's going to be 12 installments. Actually 24, because they have two sides. So 24 installments on all the buildings in Great Western Trail, second edition. Most of the thoughts are going to be good for the first edition too, since only a few buildings really changed much. But I'm going to talk about them specifically when that's the case. Let's start off with 1A. This building is a humble one, but it is by far the most played building in every Great Western Trail you're ever going to witness, along with his brother in arms, 1B, which we're going to talk about in a few days, I guess. 1A should be placed by every player in every single game of Great Western Trail. I think that every player to compete in Great Western Trail has to build at least once and probably twice. And 1A or 1B, if it's in the game, should be played each and every time. The reason is simple. It costs only one builder, so it's very cheap, and you can do it at the start of the game just by discarding a green cow. That's basically free, and it does have a hand on it. So in 4 players, that's going to tax people by 1 coin, and in 3 players and 2-player games, it's going to tax people by 2 coins. So in 3 players game, this is really like, if it's not the first action, it's the second one, but it's a very strong building. In 3 players, it's still very, very strong in 4 players, of course, because taxing people is pretty good, it turns out. So you should place this building down every time that you can. Where can you place it? Oh, and I'm not even discussing about the ability printed on it. Actually, we're going to talk about it a bit later, but it's secondary to the hand and to the one cost that we're talking about now. So basically, you should build 1A on the other side of a path full of hazards most of the time. That's going to be true for all the tolls that we're going to talk about. And that's the first thing you should look at. Like right now, if I have to choose the first move in this game, now remember what I did. I can either get ahead probably, or I can place down a building. These are my two big choices. We can discuss about other ones in other videos, but if I place down a building, it's probably going to be 1A, and it's going to be on one of these two spots on the other sides of the rocky hazards. On top of that, as you can see, there are trees on these spots, so it's even better for 1A, but the first reason to place it over here or here is because of the hand. Now, placing it in the first spot means that you're going to tax people for sure, because they might empty their pockets before going into the second position. But most of the time, I would say that the second position is better because you might upgrade this building later on and get free steps to other buildings. So most of the time, I think that this spot is better. If there were hazards on this path, normally a good spot is this one or this one. But even this one is pretty good. I think these three are probably most used spots in general. Most of the time, if there are many hazards here, you just want to get to secure a spot on one of these, building spaces. Just because, so that later on you can take a move by moving fast instead of being forced to stop over here and here if over here is full of buildings. This spot is particularly interesting for 1A because uh, it's a bit better with 1A than with 1B because of the ability of the building. But again, the first thing you should look at when placing 1A is where can I get the most coins from my opponents, and if I'm going to upgrade this building, what's a good position while still taxing my opponents? Those are the two main questions you should ask yourself. Then let's talk briefly about the skill. So it's going to give you 2 coins per each building on a tree spot. So there are a few tree spots, as you might see on the map. There's 1 and 2 over here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here, and these are all the spots, if I remember correctly. There's also this one, but I mean, I know maybe a lot of beginners player like this spot, but it's not really that good. So, why can it be good? Sometimes you just want to take more steps on the track to be the first one to reach some buildings, mainly the higher somebody action. So, having this building in some spot will let you get some coins and also reach the neutral building you want to hit before everybody else. So the position can be good for that. It can also shine in some games, not in many. I would say that on average you should use it way less than one time per game. You shouldn't plan on use it 1A most of the time, but in some cases, some corner cases, it can actually be even good. You probably need that building 1A and another building both on 3 spots before it becomes a decent action. You want to at least get 4 coins. But if the other 2 neutral buildings that are going to give you coins, which are neutral building D, this one that will let you pick up a bandit, and neutral building F, which will let you discard 2 matching cows for 4 coins, are in awkward positions, like they may be on the first spot or on the last spot on the track. Having 1A over here, for example, might make your loop pretty decent because you can get 4 coins over here and you don't have to stop on the first and or on the last spots on the track. Normally you want to avoid stopping too much on the first and on the last stops on the track. You want your path towards Kansas City to be smooth. You want to take as many steps as you can and go pretty fast most of the time. I think you heard it in my main video, Great Western Trail. And in these games, 1A, especially if it's positioned over here, but sometimes even if it's over here, because maybe the higher guy building, neutral building A, is on one of the last 2 spots, having this building over here plus again another building on the trees somewhere else will let you gain 4 coins just before getting some new heads, which should be able to enable a double hire, which is a very strong action. So let's recap briefly what 1A can do for you. It's mainly a toll booth, so it's mainly something you place down to tax your opponents, and it's mainly something that might be a good spot to upgrade onto so that later on you can get a better loop overall. But every now and then its ability can come into play, and being able to identify these few games and use the ability to your advantage is going to be pretty good every now and then. And that's it. I'm trying to still be pretty fast with these small videos. So, see you next time. Mars out. Bye bye.